Basketball fans, we are back. This is the Hangout, your home for talking hoops. I am Akil Augustine, and as always, I am joined by three of the best minds we could find to talk the game we know and love. The guy at the end of the couch you know because he's always on this show, and lately he stepped up his fashion swag. It was Calvin and Hobbes first, but now you went and did a little Damon Stoudemire love with the Mighty Mouse.
Mighty Mouse here to save the day.
All right, well, I will take that moniker and put it on myself. Okay. And another guy who often saves this show from I talk too much and I get off track and all that stuff, our producer, but he's on the couch today, Dwayne Watson, writer for Slam Magazine and the helper of Akil Augustine. Thank you for coming out.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
All right, and if you guys don't know this guy right here, he just tore down the stage with the Airplane Boys at Canadian Music Week. This is my man Beck, a Scarborough native, repping. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you for having me, man.
Who's your team?
Toronto Raptors, man.
Good answer.
Toronto, every day.
you couldn't get away with another answer. Yeah. Although somehow me and Dan get away with calling out the Lakers all the time. All right, let's get into it, of course. Some series ended last night, okay? The Miami Heat, we all knew it was going to end eventually. It was just a matter of when was Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett going to stop putting up a fight. The Heat closed it out. It was a tight game. Dan, I'll start with you. First off, is there anything left to say about this series between these two teams? We beat this one to death.
Well, we knew it was going to come. It was only going to be 4 or 5 games. Miami was a superior team. The Raptors softened up the Nets a little bit. And I think we saw with the Nets that really it's Joe Johnson and a bunch of dinosaurs. So
yeah.
the Heat got it done. They did what they wanted to do and get out of there in 4 or 5 games.
Here's how it all ended, of course. You see LeBron James go into work. Ray Allen still doing his thing, warming up in case another opportunity to bury the Pacers comes. I mean,
Ray Allen is ridiculous, by the way.
Yes,
and he's clutch.
It's crazy.
He's a veteran shooter. That's why they got him. I mean, you look at, they talk about how the Nets beat them all season and 4-0. That means something. It didn't mean anything because the playoffs are a different level. That's why they're back-to-back champs.
Okay, so let's get into it. I don't even want to talk about what was happening on the court in that series because it didn't really matter. It was a foregone conclusion. Beck, let's start with you. Should Kevin Garnett return to the NBA in the form of a player? We know his contract's done. And his legs are also done, but the jump shot's not gone. So you want to see Kevin Garnett continue to play in the NBA?
I think, you know, he gets a lot of flack for his attitude and the energy he brings to the court, but he's a warrior, man, and I think he deserves to go out on his own terms, you know. He doesn't have anything to prove anyone, but the most important person he has to prove to is himself. And
so you think he's still got enough juice to help a team?
One more season.
No pun intended, but he's a shadow of his former self.
Oh!
No, I mean, like, he's not,
unintended.
I mean, he's got all the attitude and the motivation. He's a leader and warrior, but he doesn't have left in the tank.
He doesn't have any legs.
He can't.
Kevin Garnett's still in the NBA?
Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't see anything from him during the playoffs. I mean, actually, he had a couple of good moments in that Raptors series.
But they're mostly with his mouth and eyes.
Yeah, it's mostly with that attitude. And I was even thinking last night, is he going to make for a good coach? Will he be a good assistant coach? Because I don't know if players want to hear it that way from a coach.
He would be a good personal trainer. A horrible coach.
Yes.
Now, there's another guy we got to talk about, Dan. I'll throw this one at you. Paul Pierce is still a Net. Now, he has a year left on his contract. Do you want to see Paul Pierce still sticking around the Nets, or does he need to go somewhere else? Because this team is old.
I think the Nets should send him out, but he's definitely got a year or two. He said it last night after the game, and you see it. He can still score 15, 18 points in an important game, and you wouldn't mind him taking a clutch shot. Does he fit on the Nets? Maybe he wants to go out west. He's from Los Angeles originally. Maybe get him out there.
He's not a starter anymore. He can still play, but he's not a starter. You can't rely on him to be that guy he was 5-7 years ago.
Put him in the Ray Allen role that he's doing with Miami.
On the Heat?
Well,
hopefully. Okay, let's jump ship.
Somewhere out west.
Let's talk about the other closeout series. So the Spurs move on. Oh, big surprise there. But the major concern, really, Tony Parker played 10 minutes, did not return to the game, hamstring concerns. He has been injured in the past. A couple years ago, we saw him very limited in the playoffs. Is this the end of the Spurs if Tony Parker is unable to stick around, Beck?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they don't have enough without him?
He's the head of the snake for me, but no.
Patty Mills can't hold it down?
Actually, no. Actually, shout out the boy Corey Joseph, man.
Uh-oh.
But the Spurs, actually, they are the best team in the NBA. So, yeah, they got the best coach, man. I think they're gonna hold it down regardless.
All right, we're checking out how it all ended. Dwayne Sweetwater Watson.
Well, I think Parker was trying to give Lillard a chance to play deep, to match up with him. He said, I'll slow myself down so you can keep up with me, because there's no way Lillard was doing anything. I mean, they're a deep team. They can make it.
No Lillard bashing.
Sorry. Where was he defensively?
Nowhere.
Exactly.
Well, again, nobody can really guard Tony Parker when he's at his best. He has had injury problems before. I feel like going into the finals last year.
Yes.
Was it the hamstring?
Yeah.
As soon as I heard hamstring injury, the first thing I thought was the 1989 finals and Magic Johnson hobbling,
wrapped up.
Yeah, hobbling on that hamstring and trying to play, I think, in game 2, and that's one of the worst basketball injuries, especially for the point guard. But they're going to have a few days off. Game 1 possibly might not even be till, I think, next Wednesday. So I think they're hoping all the other series go nice and long and he gets some time to rest. But even without Tony Parker, I'm now willing to go on record and say the Spurs could still win the West without him.
You've been bit by this before on this show.
I think we were both sitting here. You were talking about the Spurs, and we were wrong.
Dude, they're too good. Look at the guys who stepped up last night. It's incredible.
But they always do this, and then what happens? Guys like Ray Allen show up.
Okay, that's fine. But who's going to show up? Who's going to stick the dagger in on Oklahoma City or the Clippers? I still think that the Spurs can match up with those two teams even without Parker.
All right, well, we still have more arguments to come. I got to cuss Dwayne Watson at some point out in this show, so that'll probably happen after the break. This is the Hangout, Canada's home for talking hoops, and we will return. And when we return, we're talking Magic Johnson, James Dolan, and all the rest of the craziness going out in L.A.